without a shadow of a doubt, it's the crunkiest show in social media history. I want to welcome you to another edition of the War Zone. I got my co-host in the building, Donovan Sadiq, the Queen, Demetra Kayla, and I am the five-star general. Say tonight, man, we trying to figure out, is Joe Biden really trying to pick a black VP, or is he just trying to get his coon quota? We gonna figure it out tonight. I want to welcome you, man, and let's see if y'all ready to go in. Say, man, I want to welcome you to another edition of the War Zone and tell you happy Hanukkah. Whatever that may mean, just happy Hanukkah. Say, man, I appreciate you guys tuning in. We all do, because without y'all, we would not have a show. And we're having fun, and we enjoy you tuning in every night with all them good comments. So tonight, I need y'all to really interact with us so that we can light it up. That's what I feel. I think tonight we're gonna light it up. Well, I'm gonna start it off with this. You know, I tell people every single day that snitching come with these youngsters nowadays. You know, when Takesha 6ix9ine snitched on his clique because they was trying to kill him, setting him up, all that, stealing his money, and then he snitched on him and he got out of jail, people like, man, they gonna kill that boy when he get out. Well, this past weekend, Takesha went into New York and went into the streets, shot him a video, and ain't nobody did a goddamn thing. I keep telling y'all, these dudes ain't built like that, man. They ain't built like that. Takesha getting rich off the game, and honestly, I don't know, man. If they'd have did me like they did him, kidnapped me and all that, had me in the trunk, I'd have told on them and they mama too. That's how I feel. So I just want to let y'all know, man, that these youngsters, they snitching is cool. You can go to jail, come home, shoot a video, and ain't nobody gonna do nothing. Demetra.
So, hello everybody. I hope all is well with you. I hope you're having a great day. And I actually want to just kind of do a little follow-up on Spencer, the gentleman that we had on the show last night, because I had quite a few people reach out to me wanting to know how they can help and all of that. So, Gary, have you heard anything else at all?
No, I'm actually gonna touch bases with Spence when we get off the show. Today was a medical day for me. Get a lot of medical stuff in order. So I spent my whole day doing that, and but we gonna get some movement. Trust me. I already called another pastor and sent word. Either pick up that phone and call me. I'm coming to church Sunday. I'm just in the habit of messing up the collection plate. So they either gonna do what they need to do to help Spence, or the collection plate gonna be real light with that little crazy dude outside your church with the pink shirt on.
Which it should also be said that I reached out to the church. I put a message on their Facebook page, and I sent a private message to which they haven't responded to either. And then Donovan can tell us about what he did as well so far.
Well, so far, again, I left a message on their phone. It's just amazing to me how they have all these email addresses for all these officers, and they all come back broken. You can't get a hold of anybody. They just kick it right back, whatever. But I did leave a message on the phone, and I also sent an email. And if you go to my webpage, I think I shared it with Demetra. So it's out there on my social media page. So basically, we're going to get some action one way or the other, because nobody likes to be highlighted, or what do they call it, blown up. You know, you're saying you're one thing when you find out that you're actually another. And I also got a picture of Sheila Jackson Lee visiting that very, very church. So I'm writing the story, and we're going to take it from there, and we're going to stay on their necks until they're dead.
All right, and so everybody just hang tight. We are still trying to get more information there's a lot of things that are unanswered. I swear for God, I had people call me, well, what happened? Is he doing this? Is he doing that? And what's, and I was like, listen, y'all heard what we heard. We're still trying to fill in the blanks as to what's going on and how we can really help him. And so stay tuned. We'll get more information when we can. And so, Gary, you wanted to talk about vice presidential picks for Joe Biden today. So I'll let you go ahead and take it away.
Well, Kanye already decided who his vice president, running mate would be. And I think the elephant in the room is, who is Joe going to pick? Well, we know that there's a lot of, rhetoric going around about Joe possibly picking an African American female to be his running mate. Realistically, over here on the Republican side, we don't give a damn who he picked. We're going to kick his ass on Super Tuesday. That's all it boiled down to. But I don't know, is he really trying to pick an African American female because they're highly qualified? Or is he just trying to meet his coon quota? And what I mean by that, he knows that he needs the African American vote. He knows that he needs that African American female vote. And I think that he'll play that card. If he decides, he may play that card. But honestly, I don't think he's going to pick an African American. I don't think he's going to pick one. I think if he was going to pick one, he'd have picked them a long time ago. So, that's the way I feel. I think it's just it's a BS pick, and he's not picking them because he feels that they're qualified. It's for other reasons.
Well, I'll go ahead and just give you guys what I know. So obviously, we are in election season 2020. The presidential race is going to take place, or elections all over, but specifically, we may or may not have a new president in November. And so Joe Biden is running. He is the front runner, the presumed nominee for the Democratic Party. He's just waiting to, I guess, have it be official when and if they have the convention or whatever that is. And so he, I guess he said that he was going to pick a nominee sometime, or a vice president nominee, I guess, this week sometimes. I guess we're going to bite our nails to find out who that is. But a lot of people have been saying that he needs to pick a Black woman for his vice president, simply because Black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party. It's a fact that 98% of Black women voters voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016. Black women traditionally do a lot of the organizing for the Democratic Party. In fact, it is said that the Democratic Party wouldn't be where it is if it was, especially within the last 50 years, if it wasn't for the things that Black women contribute to helping certain Democrats get elected. And so many are saying it's only right that he selects a Black woman, right? All right, so who are these Black women that are in the running? Well, we know that Kamala Harris, she is in the running, and we've seen her speak out quite a bit, kind of take the lead on certain topics and issues and things. And you guys know that she is a senator from California. She has a checkered past, if you will. She also would be compared to Joe Biden as far as her criminal justice or lack thereof record. They kind of are the same. We also have Representative Karen Bass. She is also from California. She's kind of, a lot of people don't know a lot about her, but if you are watching the HR 40 hearings, which deals with the reparations, the study of reparations, she was one of the representatives that was kind of taking the forefront on that. But she's not really that well known. The other one is Keisha Lance Bottoms. She is the mayor of Atlanta. You guys have probably seen her a lot since the George Floyd protests. Specifically, she took charge when 6 of her police officers were caught on tape, or film rather, brutalizing students from Spelman and Morehouse, and she dealt with that swiftly. And she's been very outspoken in regards to Black Lives Matter issues, and she's currently, in a lawsuit, or the governor actually of Georgia is suing her behind the shutdown and the mask ordinance and all of that. So he's suing her. Okay, so she's, I guess, in consideration. You also have Stacey Abrams, who ran to be the governor of Georgia, but she did not win. It was, I guess, a notorious race, if you will, because it was said that the Republican, Brian Kemp, actually, his team and people working for him cheated, if you will, during the election, because it doesn't sound like she lost by that much, but she lost nevertheless, okay? Then we also have Val Demings. She's a representative from Florida. A lot of people haven't even heard of her up until her name was thrown around for the pick for VP. And so there's not a whole lot known about her. And then you also have Susan Rice, who was the National Secretary Advisor for the Obama administration. You guys might also remember her name was synonymous with the word Benghazi. That was also what Hillary Clinton was tasked with, the Benghazi incident. And so they also tied Susan Rice to that. And so those are the 6 Black women. Oh, and also some people have even thrown in Maxine Waters and Barbara Lee, both from California, saying, well, hey, why not them, right? And so those are the women, but specifically the 6 that I just talked about, those are the women who people are saying should at least be considered. And so I'll give it back to you, gentlemen.
Let me go first. So you said Kamala Harris. You talking about Willie Brown side piece? The Willie Brown side piece. You know, I heard about, some females in the game that, sex their way to the top. So now we're going to put a side piece in as vice president. Then he mentioned Auntie Maxine. So what we going to turn the White House into is a convalescent home full of senile old folk. We already know Joe half crazy. And now we finna go get a crazy woman that said, I'm going to do this to Trump. I'm going to do that to Trump. And you ain't did a goddamn thing. You can't keep your word. It sound good. A pair of lips will tell you anything. But I mean, we can start with the side piece because Kamala Harris has a problem with Black men. She has a problem with Black men in police agencies. So there's nothing in my fiber that could ever tell me to tell somebody, yeah, if he picks Kamala, if he picked Kamala, that's like my man picking Sarah Palin. That's how I feel. If he picked Kamala, we're going to make America great again.
And you're exactly right, because Kamala comes with a lot of baggage. I'm talking about if you lived out here in California, again, I think I said this on the show last night or the night before, she'd had to drop out of the presidential race because in the primaries when California was coming up, she's the senator from California and she was going to place 3rd. So that means her presidential run was over. If you can't carry California, which has, I think, how many votes, like 520 something votes, electoral votes. If you can't carry California, your home state, you got an issue. And yes, it is true. She was Willie Brown's side piece because Demetria and I were up in Sacramento. We met Willie Brown and he was like, where's my brown sugar at? Kamala Harris did not and does not identify as a Black woman. And this myth about Black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party, Hillary lost. So if you're the backbone of the Democratic Party and Hillary lost, we don't have much of a backbone.
Well, I'll say this about the Democratic Party. It's all toe up right now. Contrary to popular opinion, the Democratic Party, especially in the state of Texas, is in a disarray. It's in a disarray. I don't care what nobody tell me. I'm here. I know. I see it. I work around it. I work inside of it. It's in disarray. And if you're right, if you can't carry your home state, then it's a waste of time. But I mean, her checkered past when it came to police reform and just bottom line, just doing what was right to let some innocent people out of jail. No, we can't do that. If he picked Kamala Harris, you turn George Floyd over in his grave.
And real quick, Demetra, wait, and real quick, a lot of the candidates that Demetra listed, Black women candidates, have a law enforcement past. These people have supported white supremacy. Val Demings was the former police chief in Orlando. Now, what's her name from Atlanta? Bottoms, whatever her name is.
Keisha?
Her father was, yeah. Her father was a not a famous, well, he was a singer in the 60s. He had a couple of hits out there. So she comes from a long line of people who, you know, when she went to school, she didn't have an economic problem. She didn't live in a certain neighborhood. You know, she lived at, you know, the Boulay line. So picking her and bringing her on the scene, that's not going to work either, because nobody knows who she is on a national scale. But remember, you guys, a lot of these Black candidates that Demetra mentioned have a law enforcement background, or they have a shady past. Especially 3 of them that she named came from California. And those what's her name, Bass and Lee lost a lot of credibility because she was the only congressman at the time that voted against the Iraq war. But ever since then, they told her ass to get in line, and she has been doing that ever since. So really vet these candidates.
So I see Janelle, what's happening? You say Kamala is blacker than Black. Well, I guess, you know, technically speaking, she is. Her father is actually of, what is it, Jamaican? Is it Indian Jamaican descent? And her mom is Indian. So I guess if you're counting her father being, you know, Jamaican and more of the Indian persuasion, yeah, I guess you could say she's Black, but she hadn't always claimed to be Black. In fact, when she, I think it was when she won the senator to be a senator in California, they labeled her as the first Indian American woman to be a senator of California.
Right, and you guys got to remember, okay, her mother's from India. You guys know in India they have a caste system. So the caste that you're born in is the caste that you pretty much stay in. Okay, Kamala's mother is from one of the higher castes because her mother was a professor. So she was of that higher lineage of the caste system. So her equality to regular Black folks or just regular Black things is almost nil. How many of you guys saw that Breakfast Club interview? She's quoting albums that didn't even exist, right, Fife? So, you know, it's going to get ugly. If they pick Kamala and Val Demings, she was a former police chief. This is the backbone of the Democratic Party. Black women that support white supremacy. We're in trouble.
Well, I tell you this here. I don't care if Kamala Kunta Kinte Black. She is the wrong one. It's not gonna happen. It's not gonna work. Ain't nobody falling for it. I mean, if you inside the state of California and you know this lady's history, he may lose them votes because her history is just flat out garbage. And to be affiliated with the fact that you were somebody's side piece in politics, and it's like everybody knew, you know, that's crazy. You know, and to think people are gonna cut for that, no, I don't see that happening. I'm trying to get Demetra back. I don't know what happened. Donovan, you still there?
I am still here. Demetra's on air. Demetra's on air.
I can't see her.
Okay, Demetra, you probably want to go back out again and come in.
No, I can see her on the phone. I can't see her on the computer, but go ahead.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know what happened. It just like kicked me out. It was weird. But anyway, so I don't necessarily have a problem with Kamala being Black or not being Black. That's not really my issue. My issue is her record, and especially her record in regards to Black people. And another thing that I will say, as I was looking over this list of 6 Black women possibilities for the vice presidency of the United States, none of them, as far as their strengths, said anything about what they did or would do for Black people specifically, because that's what we need to be looking at as Black people. what is this, potential vice president going to do? Now, we know traditionally the vice president is kind of a lame duck. They go to bar mitzvahs and, shake hands with the tree people. I'm not saying it like they don't have a big job, if you will. Now, Gary's gone. But so I have a problem with Kamala's record in regards to what she did to Black people. Her policies as Attorney General, and not wanting to let certain people out of prison and sending people to prison, especially under her truancy laws, where she pretty much targeted Black people. Now, there's a lot of people that say, well, there wasn't actually anybody who went to prison or to jail because of Kamala's truancy policy, but that's false. Look up Terry Peoples. She full-fledged went to prison or to jail rather behind her daughter being truant from school. Now, her daughter was truant because she has a bout with sickle cell, and she said the school and her already knew that. Now, why it didn't pass down to the law or whatever, she doesn't know, but the law showed up at her house with cameras and everything. She said, you would have thought I killed somebody with all of the, the drama that went on. I have a little bit of feedback with all the drama that went on with her arrest. And so, yeah, Kamala's problematic, but not because she is Black. But I will say this. Also, we also need to think about, we got somebody's mic not muted. Or is that me? Hello? Okay, good. Yes. So Susan Rice, you guys remember how she did Snoop Dogg, if you will, because she, Snoop and Gail had Snoop actually went at Gail due to Gail's questioning of Lisa Leslie in regards to Kobe Bryant, in the rape trial shortly after his death. You guys heard and saw what Snoop said, and Susan Rice, tweeted basically, you better watch it or we'll come get you type of thing. I'm paraphrasing. So anyway, I have two theories I want to discuss really quick. So my daughter was telling me about a theory that she's seen trending in regards to Joe Biden's vice presidential pick. She's saying the theory is people are saying he might want to pick a Black woman because he has no intentions on serving his 4 years, basically setting it up to have a Black woman president. Now, my theory, this is something she heard, my theory, and it kind of makes sense, is I don't think he's going to pick a Black woman for his vice presidential pick because, as we said, Joe Biden is 77 years old, the oldest candidate to run for the presidency of the United States. He appears to have something going on with him. I don't know if he's sick or what. So let's say he doesn't make it 4 years, and that does set up a Black woman to be the president of the United States. You know how many white people who are Democrats and Republicans are already probably seeing that, and there's no way they're going to vote for that. I don't think we'll ever see another Black president, man or woman, after Barack Obama ever again. So that's why that's just my theory. I don't think he will pick a Black woman simply because of that.
I don't think he's going to pick a Black woman because Abrams ain't in the loop. If I was looking at all these women, Stacey Abrams did what not to be considered? That's crazy. But, if he picked Kamala, that's a win hands down for Trump. It's done. Ain't nobody rocking with Kamala. I'm telling you.
And you notice too, Kamala's been saying stuff like, hey, every American needs to get $2,000 because of the COVID. And so she's doing a lot of pandering, if you will. She's trying to encompass everybody. So I think she's definitely trying to set herself up to be a little bit more progressive. When anybody would have looked at Kamala Harris knows she's more like a conservative. She would have been better off running as a Republican than a Democrat because, as I said, her policies have been more on the conservative side. But now she's trying to come off as more as a progressive, if you will.
Exactly. If you watched her during the debates, and we're just talking about Kamala for instance, she was against the UBI. She was against universal health care. First, she was for it. Then she was against it. Then she was for, she was all over the place. And to me, that shows a person that is an opportunist. She doesn't give a damn. I mean, if you look at old videos of her as the California Attorney General, she is sitting there talking about how unrealistic it is And there's no excuses for poor people not to do this and not to do that. And of course, because she was raised by her mother, she's has a mentality of a caste system. So she's talking down to you poor single Black women out there saying, your kids need to do this. I've decided that by, putting truancy on you, that's going to solve the problem. And, how many of you guys remember Mitrice Richardson, the young Black lady that went missing in 2009 out of the sheriff's station, and they found her a year later dead? The family appealed to Kamala Harris to investigate the sheriff's department. Kamala refused. She wouldn't want to do it. She didn't want to do it. She said, I'm done. We're finished here. And this is a Black family. It ain't like it was like some white family. She said, hell, fuck y'all. Mother to mother, she couldn't do it.
Well, I kind of know where Joe gonna be. I don't think Joe will do the full 4 years. So us on this side, we've already gotten his bed ready at the old folks home, because that dementia is setting in. It's setting in. But I don't see him picking a Black person as a VP, whether it's male or female. And I kind of agree with Demetria that your run at a Black president is basically over. It will not happen again.
And then think about it this way. All the hell Obama went through, all that hell, and then you're going to put a Black woman through that? I'm not saying, and ladies, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying, you guys aren't strong and powerful and the backbone of the Democratic Party, but it's kind of funny that women that are strong like that in public, when they are dealing with white supremacy or their white husbands, they seem to be of a different type of nature. They kind of bow down and they're kind of a little bit more quiet. It just seems that way when it comes to being married to the other man instead of the brother man. Could I be wrong, Demetria? I don't know.
What you ain't gonna do is get me in that argument, brother. Okay. Let's see here. So Errol says, what's your opinion on Demings out of Florida and Bass out of California? Well, the thing is, no one really has an opinion because I don't want to say they're new. We know that Karen Bass has been on the scene for quite a while, but nobody really knows a whole lot about them. And I'll say this much as far as those two in regards to Black people. A lot of times we vote out of symbolism. And so there's nothing, and people, this is just a word I use all the time. It's nothing really sexy. I'm not talking about physically, but appealing about those two. So it's almost like, having a saltine cracker with nothing on it. It's like, it was okay.
Yeah, but think about this right now with the climate in the United States in regards to law enforcement. You mean to tell me you're going to put a former police chief on the ticket to run for vice president, and we want police reform, and you think that's going to happen? I mean, we got to really think about these candidates and say, okay, what is their background? What did they do in regards to police reform? Not a damn thing.
And it should be said too that Susan Rice, on the Obama administration, she was also there when they killed Muammar Gaddafi. And Muammar Gaddafi, he was an African, he was Black. Some people say, well, he was Egyptian, whatever. He was a Black man that was trying to mobilize Black people around the world and do a lot of things that would actually help us. And they went in there and murdered him and destabilized the government of Libya. And now they have full-fledged slavery and human and sex trafficking of Black people due to what the Obama administration did. And so those are the kind of things that we need to consider. So, and Joe Biden was there as well in the Obama administration. Hell, he was a vice president. And so imagine if you had those two together. What that administration looked like. They're, heavy on destabilizing other governments and, not really friendly with Black people at all. And so, we really need to do our research before we go co-signing who should be in the White House, right?
I can't get Al's comment up, but he makes a good point. What's the use of having another Black president or VP if they not gonna do nothing for black people. Say, man. Hey, I can't knock that comment there. I can't knock that. These people, when you look at, let's look at all these women that he had, that we thinking he may pick. What's their black agenda for us? What is the black agenda for Black America? Those people could care less about black people. See, y'all care more about it because you hate Trump. I get it. But those people don't give a damn about you. So you're going to run up in there no matter. See that? And it's crazy because if you think about it, it don't matter. It doesn't matter who he picks if they're black. You just going to run your ass up in there. And that's what we want you to do. Run up in there, go kick it with them, and we're going to kick you behind on Super Tuesday.
And so that is.
I have a question. Wait. I just have a question for everybody out there. Every time a woman has been put on the national ticket, what was the end result? A loss. Geraldine Ferraro lost. Hillary Clinton, front runner, presidential, a loss. Sarah Palin, I mean, that was a Hail Mary, a loss. When you put a woman on the ticket, and this is just my opinion, not Demetrius, not the 5-star. It seems to me when a woman is put on the ticket, that says one of two things. You are behind in the polls and you don't think that you can win. And number two, you are so desperate that you hope some of those Republican women or Democratic women, feminists, are going to come over and help you get across the finish line. And in every instance in United States history, it has ended in a loss, period.
I think that more or less speaks to that America, because a lot of other countries have women as presidents, or high serving offices, if you will. I just think that speaks to more of the fact that United States, men and women, aren't really ready for a female president. They in 2016, if women truly wanted a female president, they had Hillary Clinton. She was more than experienced to be president. She ran, was in her husband's administration. She was in Barack's administration. So she definitely was had the experience. But, for all the women, it's funny that more black women voted for Hillary Clinton than white women. So that's also very telling. But I just, like I said, think it speaks more to the fact that people aren't really ready for a woman to be president for whatever reason. They just,
Well, I wouldn't say it's people. That goes to show you the power of white supremacy. White supremacy isn't just about oppressing people of color. It's about suppressing women. Republican women, I love Republican women. I'm with the 5-star on this one. They are the only group of women in the United States that think that they shouldn't be paid equal to men. I love them. I love them.
Well, I'll say this here. I can't put his comment up, but Dre Gorn says, bring back opportunities in the hood, take away some drugs, help money circulate back into the black community. Some of these people have had that opportunity on the local and the state level. They never did it. So you think if they get up on the national level, on the federal level, that they're going to change who they are. Brother, let me make you aware. Snakes don't change. They were a snake on the local level. They're going to be a snake when they get in. And right now, they spoon feeding y'all a bunch of garbage, as they always do. And then when it's all said and done, it is what it is. We keep applauding Obama. We got a black president. That's all you got out the deal. Your black president didn't do anything for you. No matter how he can speak as eloquent as he wants. And I think he's a great speaker. And the thing is, he got so much game with him. He's so cool. He Billy D. Williams cool. He fooled all of y'all. And ain't do a goddamn thing.
And somebody put up in the comment or asked the question, would a Michelle help get votes? And let me tell you something about this. You guys got to really think. Obama was in office and all hell broke loose when they realized a black man was going to be put in office. But there's a reason why he was put in office. Remember Occupy Wall Street? Go research that, because the white folks were losing their shit then. And they put this black man in there because nobody had ever seen anything like this in the whole history of politics. I mean, because remember, even John Lewis was against Obama when he ran. But when the momentum was so much from the millennials, he was like, well, I'm going to switch, because he was all Hillary. He wanted to jump on the winning team so he can get a job and all that other good stuff, what he's supposed to do. So to put a Michelle Obama on the ticket, you would have so many white folks in the Democratic Party crossing the line, and so many black folks crossing the line to join the 5-star, because we didn't get shit then. So why would we get shit now? She would not help the ticket, because overwhelmingly, black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party. They're going to vote Democratic anyway, right? So you can't even count those votes. So what votes is she going to bring if Michelle Obama ran? And then number 2, Michelle said, fuck that, we're out of here.
Honestly, me, crossing the line, I had no choice. Bottom line, I had no choice. I'm not going to rock with Joe. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to rock with Joe. I mean, Trump is who he is. He's going to say what's on his damn mind. He don't give a damn what he say. But that's normally what you get when you put a real estate agent in as the president of the most powerful country in the world. So, bottom line, a lot of people upset with him, because he didn't, go to John Lewis's funeral. Okay, I get it. But, when you look at his quote, he say John Lewis didn't come to his inauguration. So basically, that's the equivalent of Willie D saying, I ain't go to Bushwick funeral because I ain't kicking with him. We wasn't cool. You see what I'm saying? See, y'all don't like brutal honesty sometimes. And the thing is, even if you feel a certain way about a person, as long as they're brutally honest, that's all you can expect. That's all you should expect from them. So I'm going to be brutally honest with you. Put Kamala on the ticket, and it's a win in about an hour after the polls close.
So let me ask you guys both this, and then you guys in the comment section, who would you like to? Okay, let's just be honest. Joe Biden is going to get the Democratic nomination, and it's where it's looking right now. I'm saying right now, it is looking like he may win the presidency of the United States. So who would you guys like to see him put with him as vice president?
Very, very good question.
I would have liked to have seen Abraham.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say this. A bigot needs a bigot on the ticket. So why not Lindsey Graham?
Why Lindsey Graham?
Because he's a racist too. A racist, that makes sense to me. It ain't like he's going to do anything for black people when he gets in the office. And people say, well, they don't know he's going to do this and we love him and all this other stuff, right? He told you in your faces, I'm for the status quo. And if you think what's going on in America right now is normal, I don't know what to tell you. He says he ain't going to do shit. No, there's going to be no reparations. He hasn't even apologized for his crime bill, hasn't even suggested what he's going to do to reverse it. Nothing. That lift every voice and sings, that ain't shit. There's nothing in there. It's symbolism. Why are you guys in love with the lesser of two evils? He's the lesser of the evil. There's no doubt Trump has to go. However, I won't get shit with Trump, even though we have been getting little things. I'm definitely not going to get nothing with Joe. So why not?
Let me answer this question. Rontrell Bradford asks, Gary, what has Trump done for black folks? Rontrell, I want to ask you this here. What has your black politicians done for you? You expect the white man to do what your black politicians won't do. You want to hold the white man to the highest level of accountability that you can hold him to and keep giving your black politicians a pass because they give you a turkey? That's why the hell I said the Democratic Party can go to hell.
So I'm looking at some of these suggestions. Somebody said Cuomo, Kings of Last Bottoms, or Stacey Abrams, Bernie, oh no, somebody was replying to Calvin. Let's see, Condoleezza Rice, her name came up, but that would be kind of odd, but maybe not so much. I don't know. TDJ.
Condoleezza is a Republican, and she's been banging Bush side chick for years. She's not going to cross those party lines. She's not going to do it. As a matter of fact, she's wanted by the World Criminal Court for war crimes because of the Iraq War.
So yeah, so Stacey Abrams again. So pretty much some of the same names that a lot of people were throwing out. I saw a comment. Oh, Tisha. So you were saying that black men hated Kamala Harris. Well, I don't know if that was if the hate was from a shallow, petty place. Now, if they hated her, why? Why would black men hate Kamala Harris?
Kamala was a top cop in California. And if you look at the number of prisons that reside in the state of California, it's utterly ridiculous. If you look at the number of people in the state of California that should not even be in prison, while this woman was sitting on the throne, it's utterly ridiculous. And politics look at things a certain way. If you cannot carry your home state, you are wasting your time. And Kamala could not carry her own home state.
And that is a lot of electoral votes. If you can't carry California, New York, Florida, and Texas, plus the Michigan, and you got a few, but those four big ones, man. I mean, what's the point of having her on the ticket? She brings nothing to the table, and that's politics 101. Hillary carried California and New York, no doubt. Why? Liberal Democratic states, big votes. But see, I remember the election night. We were sitting there watching it, and yeah, Hillary got the main big states, but then Trump started getting those small states. Next thing you know, he's president.
You got to look at vice president pick. Would Trump be willing, not Trump, but would Biden be willing to, support an African American on the Supreme Court? I don't see that. See, it's a lot of things y'all should be worried about this man, and you overlooking a lot of things just because you have a hatred for Trump. See, we knew one thing: when Trump became president, they were going to put a white person on the Supreme Court. So if Biden becomes president, are you going to put a black person on the Supreme Court? Because the one you got sitting up there, he don't say nothing but every 2 or 3 years, Clarence Thomas might say, hello. Outside of that, that man don't say nothing. So, what is Biden going to do for black people? What is his black VP going to do for black people that they could have done in other capacities? You know how we say it. They ain't going to do a goddamn thing.
So in regards to some of the things regarding Kamala, so I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a man by the name of Kevin Cooper. He is a black man who was accused of heinous murders in, I think it was 1981 or so. He was accused of escaping prison. So he did escape from prison, but from that, he was accused of murdering a white family not too far from where Donovan and I live. The whole Inland Empire is where we live was terrorized the whole time until they found him being Kevin Cooper. So he's been on death row ever since he was found guilty. Now, there's a lot of evidence saying that he did not do these murders. There's eyewitnesses. There's a whole bunch of people who come forward and says, hey, I know who did it. Even the surviving little boy of the family, he was like, his testimonies changed. And he finally said, I don't think it was him. And so he's been on and off of death row. Wow, I want to say he's had many stays, like maybe 4 stays of execution. So I bring him up because Kamala at the time was the attorney general during that time, and she had the option of looking at his situation, to look at his case. And she's like, no, I'm not going to do that. You know, she just completely kept ignoring it. And this man was on his 11th hour of being executed when Governor Brown at the time of California and Dianne Feinstein and a couple of other people was like, wait a minute, this man could be innocent. Let's at least give him a DNA test to see if, you know, if he's innocent. And then she jumped on board and said, oh, okay, well, let's do it. Now, had those people not said, let's give Kevin Cooper another look, he would have been dead. And she had the power to say, hey, let's look at the evidence again. Let's at least give him a DNA test. And let's see, there's a comment up here that I wanted to address. It was Antoine. He says, it was our leaders demanding Biden to pass that crime bill in the 90s. So we need to be just as mad at them. The dude is literally a puppet that Black people want. But think about it, Black people who really care about our people don't seem to show up to give their input because politics ain't for us. Well, I just want to say this. Joe Biden authored that crime bill. And yes, the Black Caucus and a lot of other, Black politicians did say, yeah, you know what? Sounds good to me. But they did not start the bill. He was the author of the bill. In fact, he boldly and happily called it Biden's law. So that was something that he initiated. And yeah, they jumped on board. Now, a lot of other people too said, well, I jumped on board because there was some stuff in there about women's rights or protecting women. And so I was like, okay, we're going to protect women and screw Black people over again, which is still no excuse. Look at what's going on now in Congress. They're, almost a week into the stimulus package expiring, and they just got it tied up. Why not tie the bill up if you don't agree with everything that's in there? Why sell out Black people in order to do that? And then Errol, I want to get your comment. He says, why should Blacks vote if neither party is concerned about Black people? And that is the question. Why should we continue going to the polls and giving our votes? As Donovan says, hold the vote until, and if we're not getting anything for it, all we're getting is symbolism. We're getting symbolism and a sticker. You did it, I voted. And if you ask somebody, well, what did you vote for? Oh, I voted to get Trump out of office. You voted to get Trump out of office to get what? What exactly did you get?
We expect a lot from these people. But yet when the Black politician drops the ball, we want to give them a pass. So what's my girl name in California, Donovan? Auntie
Lee?
Maxine.
Oh, Auntie Maxine.
John Lewis, Elijah Cummings. Were they in office when this crime bill was passed?
Absolutely.
Was Sheila Jackson Lee in office when this crime bill was passed?
Absolutely. She had just won office.
So we know, God bless John Lewis and Elijah Cummings. They're no longer here. Sheila's up for re-election. But y'all got a problem with the crime bill, but you ain't got a problem with the people that voted for it. You ain't got a problem with the people that didn't stand up and say, well, no, we shouldn't do this. You don't have a problem with them, and you don't have a problem because you're brainwashed and you're Black and you succumb to all their foolishness. These Democrats are using you. They've been using us. They won't use me, not another day. Not another day. You need to start holding these people accountable. You want to put Joe on the cross? I get it. But you need to put up a whole bunch of more crosses, some Black crosses for the ones that voted for it.
Absolutely. I mean, that's where it's at. I have more people, my own people, telling me, well, if you don't vote, you're going to put Trump in the White House. Okay. What's going to change for me any different? Now, we're not telling you not to vote. That ain't what we're saying at all. We're saying get something for the vote. I'm going to vote for somebody that's going to give me something. Trump's been in there 4 years. I'm not going to vote for Trump ever. Don't even think that. But Joe's not promising me nothing. He's not saying nothing. What is he going to give me for my vote? So guess what? I'm going to take my vote because I know it's valuable, and I'm going to go somewhere else where somebody's going to, appreciate it. I'll write in a candidate, 5-star general, and we'll see how it goes.
I'm gonna tell you this here. I like Garland Tucker's comment, and not because it's me. Say I would love to see 5-star run against Sheila Jackson Lee. That would be like one of those iconic Tyson fights. Well, I tell you this: 5-star is an accomplished rapper. I love rap music, been doing it forever. And some of y'all ain't never heard me. If you put me in a room with 5 of the greatest of all time, I'm coming out in the top 3. I challenge any politician on any level to sit down and let's discuss these issues. They ain't gonna sit in a room with 5-star Demetri or Donovan because we are just as smart as them, but more importantly, we are woke. They can't run game on woke people. You people that continuously vote for them, don't sit here and act like because you got a master's degree that you woke. When it comes to politics, you just as sleep as Joe Biden. You and Joe, sleepy partners.
You know what the funny thing is? Right now, Black unemployment is 50%. They're going to tell you, well, it's only 20. We know 3 times, you multiply it 3 times, Black people right now, our unemployment is 50%. 85 Black people are involved in Congress. How many Black politicians have you heard addressing Black unemployment right now? This is what we're talking about. They're not there to represent us anymore. They don't do that anymore. They represent their donors. And that's the problem. We need to hold these people accountable. So Biden picking a Black VP is symbolism, and that's all it's ever going to be, because at the end of the day, don't be surprised. Let's say Biden does that one term. Then that VP, let's throw it out there, Val Demings, Mrs. I'm a police chief. I'm not for police reform. Even Biden said he's not for, taking the police down. He said, well, why can't you just shoot him in the leg? So he's all for shooting people running away. Just shoot him in the leg. Do you think that as a vice president who is now the incumbent to run for president, you think that she's going to automatically win the presidency? The same thing that is going to happen, that happened to Obama and happened to Hillary, is going to happen to this Black person, because white women Democrats and white supremacy is not going to let this person win.
Rontrell Bradford said, Gary, you never answered my question. What has Trump done for Blacks? What did he promise to do? What has Joe promised to do? Why is it that you want to hold this man to this standard, but yet your Black savior didn't do anything for us? And let's get this straight. I was a staunch Democrat then, but I down balloted that on them 2 elections because I could smell BS from a mile away with Obama. One, I had, red flags to me. When is the last time a first-time senator ever became president? Black, white, whatever. First-time senator. Never happened. So all of this started making my mind click. You feel what I'm saying? But my question is, and you won't answer it, what has your Black politicians done for you? The ones that you keep running up in them voting booths for. You keep pushing them votes, them buttons for the same failed Black politicians every 4 years. Now I want you to understand something, how this gonna work this time. Ain't no straight ticket voting in Texas. You got to go in there and push them buttons on every single election. Man, it's finna be some bullshiggity. A whole bunch of you people that's Black acting like you ain't gonna vote for Trump. You know what you going in there and do, because you already know what Biden ain't gonna do. But you ain't bold enough to just get sick and tired of it and be Monroe and just come out and say, I'm not voting for this man. You placating the game, man.
Can I ask a question? And this is for the people out there real quickly. You're a public servant. why is it that all these public servants, it kind of reminds me of pastor pimping. They get in there, they're all millionaires. They say 97.8% of everybody in Congress is a millionaire. How did that happen? And yet these millionaires represent Fifth Ward, Ninth Ward in Louisiana, Compton, all the bad so-called depressed neighborhoods, all these millionaires, and we're cool with it while we're sitting in poverty in mold-infested homes, as we talked about yesterday, and we're just cool with it. Doesn't make sense.
So I actually want to take on Ron Trell's question. He says, so, and I'm paraphrasing, but what did Trump do for Black people? Well, I will tell you this. There has been a lot of Black people, specifically Black men, who have gravitated, I guess Gary's one of them, right? Who have gravitated over to the Trump train, if you will, because they said that they have made lots more money under a Trump presidency. And a Trump presidency gives them more opportunities to do so. And I personally know a few Black men that say, hey, I'm not in love with a whole lot of things that he's doing, but F all that dumb stuff and the kumbaya stuff, I need to get to the bag, right? And so I'm going to be able to get to the bag under the Trump presidency. Now, also, we know that Trump has enacted his second chance program that has let quite a few Black people who were doing harsh sentences, some of them under the laws that Joe Biden created. Trump has actually allowed for them to be released early from prison. One of them was, I can't remember her last name, but Alice, who had a low-level drug offense and was doing a life sentence. I think she did 30-something years, and Trump said, hey, let her out via the help of Kim Kardashian and, a whole host of other people. And so the Second Chance Act actually helps Black people. We know that he has also given money to HBCUs, the historical Black colleges, who are always struggling and looking for funding. And even under the Obama administration, I'm not sure how much he did for the HBCUs, but it doesn't sound like it was a lot in comparison to what Trump is doing. And so am I saying that Trump is a good guy? No, I'm not saying that. I'm not voting for Trump. But I think it's disingenuous for us to keep asking, well, what has Trump done for Black people? It's in black and white what he has done. And I think the original question that came from Trump, actually, he says to Black people, what do you have to lose? What do you have to lose with me being the president? And I don't know. I don't know if anybody's really been able to answer that. And has the question been answered thus far? Has Black people actually lost anything due to Trump? Now, I will concede this point because I don't want to be disingenuous. We know that because he started on the pandemic, calling it a pandemic, it caused the economic fallout that we are enduring right now. So that disproportionately does affect Black people because we predominantly work in the service industry and a lot of those jobs have been affected. We also know that the $600 stimulus, part of the unemployment package, has expired, which means a lot of Black people are not going to be able to pay their rent or even survive. And we know that disproportionately, out of the 40 million Americans that are facing evictions, a lot of those people are Black people, which is going to aid or add to the homeless population, which Black people are the most homeless portion of population in America. So that was kind of a double-edged question, if you will.
Well, I'll say this here, since people want to know. The Democrats are chasing the stimulus. The Republicans are chasing the bag. Now let's have a Black conversation. You either want money or you don't. You either faking like you want money or you really don't want money. The Republicans are about getting that money, man. They about getting that money, man. So what you're going to tell me is I'm supposed to just sit around here and play this game with these Black politicians and struggle and beg and plead when I can flip sides, still be as Black as I am, and I go get the bag? Man, I'm going to get the bag, man. I'm tired messing with this stuff like this here. You know, how you, the congresswoman of a district, and a man wife dying because he living in a molded situation, and you can't pick up the damn phone? You can't pick up the damn phone? Most of the schools that's failing, look at, are they Republican districts or are they Democratic districts? When you got poor and unstable education, it's normally in the Democratic situations. All you got to do is drive from one side of town to the other and see the difference. So my question is, do you want to continue to be poor? Do you want to continue to wait on these people to spoon feed you? Or do you want to get with a group of people that can show you how to get the bag? Because everybody that's talking about the bag ain't talking bad about Trump.
And I really think that's where it's at for a lot of Black people who are looking at voting for Trump. If I'm not mistaken, my numbers could be wrong, so forgive me, but we know that I think it was 8% of Black people voted for Trump the last election, and it's I think it may be 16% now. So it's about double. So some of those people are seeing an advantage or benefit for voting for Trump. But I will say this: I will agree with Gary. You know, the Democrats have done nothing but promise us stuff that they've never delivered on. We've got nothing but symbolism. You know, we get this, catchy little slogan, vote blue no matter who, vote all blue, the blue wave and all of that other stuff, but we haven't gotten anything for that. And so I just would agree with Gary. There's a lot of people, especially Black people, who are tired of being broke. We're tired of, digging in our pockets and pulling up lint. We want a real opportunity to change the game. And I will say this, we as Black people, especially with all the stimulus money and stuff that was going on, we're probably, unless they pass a reparations bill, we probably really have missed our opportunity to get above water and actually do something. And so, I mean, Trump is not.
Well, I have a question right now. The people that are, really, Democrats, and you like symbolism and all that other stuff. Since you like symbolism, why hasn't Nancy Pelosi, out of symbolism, proposed a reparations bill? Yeah, we know it's going to get knocked down, but y'all like symbolism anyway. At least that's letting you know that they're going to propose it. But guess what? It might not be the Republicans that are against the reparations bill. It just might be the Democratic Party, the party of the Klan, that is against the reparations bill.
And Rontrell, you say, so keep calling me nigger as long as I'm getting the bag, and you go like this, like, oh my God, would you rather be called a nigger and get in the bag or be called a nigger and be broke?
You call me whatever you want. If I got the bag, matter of fact, you can't even call me because my number gonna change. Because when you in that different tax bracket, you ain't fucking with the same ones anyway. See, we so caught up on, oh wait, if he call you a nigga, okay, well I get that. I'm rocking with you on that. But it's really the ones that ain't calling me a nigga that's sticking me behind my back that I need to watch. And them the ones that y'all keep voting for. So when people on this program are saying, oh, it's been messed up since the 60s, well, go look at who been in office. Go look at some of these people that's been in office forever and ain't did nothing for us. So if you want to call me a nigga, and I got 7 or 8 figures, man, you can write it down, take a picture of it. I don't give a.
And Damon, hello there. You say if Blacks get reparations, there will be no need for the Democratic Party anymore. That is,
you got
really
that right, brother. You got that right.
Yeah, that's really food for thought. So it's like the Democrats will do a study. We're going to study it and see if there's actually a need for it, but we're not going to really just go to the floor of the Congress and say, hey, give these people money. So yeah, I definitely believe that you're on to something with that.
And Al says there's no
from Ravona Flag Gaskin that says white devils. When y'all gonna call out these black devils? You scared to say it. You don't want to admit it. Let me see if I get this right. You said Bill Cosby was a rapist. You said R. Kelly was a pedophile. But your favorite politician, you will not call him on the carpet. Why? Because you like taking pictures with him? Why? Why? Go look at your school system. That'll show you. Look at the white school, then look at the black one. Your black schools right now in the city of Houston, they still trying to get computers for this year. You don't hear the white schools complaining about computers. You don't hear that. Y'all don't get it because you don't want to be honest with yourself. You keep acting like it's them white folk messing over you, and it's them Negroes, them black devils that's messing over you.
Yeah, because we keep giving them passes. Oh, they look like us. Oh, they black. Oh, we got to get somebody black in the office. But it's like, what are they going to do while they're in office? A lot of black politicians have just bought in. And, you know, and I hate to say it, bring them up, but John Lewis is one of those people who bought in. I think his intentions were pure as a young man, and he first got started in politics. But, you know, he started seeing all the benefits for himself. And, you know, he started talking about black people's issues less. I actually had a very heated discussion with some people early this morning on a post about John Lewis. And, you know, anybody who disagreed or asked, well, what specifically did John Lewis do for black people while he was in office? They were called trolls and, oh, you're trying to help get Trump in the office. And, you know, it's just like, what is wrong with us to where we get to the point where we can't ask legitimate questions? Well, what exactly did John Lewis do? Somebody said, well, he bled for you. He bled for you.
Lil Pookie around the corner did too. John Lewis, I'm going to say this, Demetri, and I'm going to give it right back to you. John Lewis took some ass whoopings for us. And then years later, he whooped our ass.
And that's it in a nutshell. And that's not even being mean. It's not trying to, you know, tarnish his legacy. It's a real fact, and it's a real question. What did he do for black people? Other than the latest thing he did was this year when George Floyd was murdered, he put forth the George Floyd bill to hold police officers accountable, you know, for murder, murdering innocent people. And it's like, well, you waited to George Floyd. There were so many people before him that you really could have forced that bill forward before you knew you were going to die, you know. So I'm not taking away from what he did, but it's just like, come on, let's be honest here.
Well, what kills me is you have these civil rights icons. I don't know why they're icons. We don't call Martin Luther King an icon. We don't call Malcolm X an icon. But all of a sudden, little John Lewis is an icon because the white narrative said to make him an icon, so you can be distracted from the George Floyd thing and everything that's going on with police brutality. And some of you guys that are watching this show right now, not the people in the comments, but some guys that are watching, you guys are out there buck dancing with the chief of police all in all these cities and stuff. After doing all of that, what did you get for it? Nothing. Symbolism. We're in love with symbolism. We got to get out of it. John Lewis, yes, anybody that comes from the civil rights era, I can't fault them, for they did what they thought was what they wanted to take the baton to. So to them, they want to desegregate a lunch counter, great. To them, that's progress. To shit next to white people while they're in a public bathroom, that was progress. Can't take that from them. But knowing all the stuff that you did in the civil rights, to now tell us that we need to sit in our place and do this and do that, we need to vote Democrat and vote against our own interests, that doesn't make any sense to me whatsoever, while they got the bag.
Well, let me go on and piss off the black establishment. If you was really raising hell during the civil rights movement, it's only two things that you had to deal with. You had to deal with the prison system, or you had to deal with the graveyard. The ones that survived it, you ain't raised no hell like that. Let's just go and tell the truth. Now, you ain't raised no hell like Medgar raised hell. You ain't raised no hell like Fred Hampton, Malcolm X, Dr. King raised hell. You ain't raised no hell like the Angola 3 raised hell. Geronimo Pratt. You feel what I'm saying? The real soldiers either died or they ended up in prison. The rest of these suckers masqueraded as politicians for 20, 30 years and ain't did a goddamn thing for us and ain't got no intentions of doing nothing for us. That's what it is, man.
Maxine Waters, real quick, Maxine Waters, when she won election in 1992, I believe it was, she said her number one priority was reparations. 35 years, 36 years later, how's that reparations going, Demetra?
It's going. But to your point, Gary, even the letter that John Lewis put out, he wanted to be read the day of his burial. He was still talking that of nonviolence. Barack Obama got up in his eulogy and was still impressing upon people to march and be nonviolent. And so I wholeheartedly agree with you. They weren't real hell raisers. They taught Black people to be docile no matter what was going on. And I mean, even Malcolm X said, what man, worth his weight will send his woman and his child out there to be mauled by dogs and water hoses and all that. Like, the women and children shouldn't be on the front lines. And that was really like a dig at Martin Luther King. It should be the men that's doing that. And so even in 2020, when Black people are still catching hell and being murdered wholesale, they're telling us to continue to be non-violent. Like, when are we going to learn that's not necessarily what we should be doing?
And see, right now, in 2020, these kids were not taught to just let somebody beat your ass and then thank them for doing their job. John Lewis, you got your ass beat, you're going to thank them for doing their job. These kids are not going to sit there and take an ass whipping. And that's what these civil rights people don't understand.
There ain't no true civil rights soldiers left, man. It really ain't. And we just have to accept that fact. When I first heard about the Angola 3, when I read up on that, man, you put these men in solitary confinement for over 40 years. In solitary confinement. Look at what they did to Geronimo Pratt, man. And we these are icons. I'll celebrate Malcolm more than I'll celebrate some of the ones that just left here. Not a slap in the face for what they've done, but I celebrate the true soldiers. So my thing is I've decided where I'm going, how I'm going to do it. I'm going to get the bag because I'm going to hang out with my Republican homies. And if you don't want to be my homie, cool with me. I can buy me some new ones.
Okay, now you're going to buy you some new ones. Well, maybe you have enough money in that bag to do so. But yeah, so I guess in closing, we're going to see who Joe Biden is going to pick for his VP. Will it be a Black woman? We don't know. There's 6 to 8 of them to choose from. So I guess it remains to be seen, right? We'll find out this week. They actually said it's kind of late in the game for him to be announcing who he is going to pick. And this is another thing too. Jim Clyburn, however you want to say it, he's more or less saying he doesn't think Joe Biden should pick a black woman VP. He should actually focus on making one for the Supreme Court. And I'm like, what's really going on here? This is some sort of a hustle, because I think, obviously, James Clyburn has worked in tandem with Joe Biden, especially in South Carolina. So I'm like, is Clyburn actually trying to soften the blow to Black people? Hey, you don't really want a Black VP woman anyway. We really should be focused on a Supreme Court nominee because he's really not going to pick one.
And I said that months ago, remember? Joe Biden basically told you when he embarrassed Stacey Abrams on the Lawrence O'Donnell show that a Black woman is not going to be the VP. I mean, so put her on the Supreme Court with Clarence Thomas, and she'll sit there and sing and all this other stuff. And call it a day. And for symbolism, we'll sit there and be like, oh, okay, because I think Klobuchar was his pick, but then because of her prosecutorial record, she had. I mean, there's no way she was gonna become the vice president. So wait, 3 of the 6 Black women have a law enforcement background, and we're cool with that person, but we wanted Amy out of there. She's white and she was a prosecutor. Well, what was Kamala Harris? What was Val Demings?
Final thoughts, Ms. Demetra.
I would just say most definitely do your research on these candidates, Joe Biden and anybody else he wants to put next to him. It's not always what you see. Of course, they being establishment are always going to give us this glossy, polished version of the people they want us to vote for. Kind of going along with what Donovan said, those are the same people who also tell us as Black people who our idols should be, right? They want to pick people who are a little bit more palatable and more on the non-violent side. Those are the people they want us to be our idols. But I think we should do our own research and dig deep and say, before I go into the booth to cast my vote, who am I actually voting for and what am I voting for?
Final thoughts, Donovan.
Final thoughts, and I'm going to say this until election day. I want you guys really to think about this. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over. I'm going to vote Democrat. I'm going to vote Democrat. I'm going to vote Democrat. I'm going to vote Democrat down the line. And I'm expecting a different result. That's it.
My final thoughts are I refuse to keep accepting failure. I don't have to, and I will not. And that's what it is. These Democratic people are failures. And for those that feel that they aren't, the question is how much they done gave you. Because you quick to tell me when I'm wrong. You'll tell Donovan when he wrong. You'll tell Demetra when she wrong. But why is it so hard for you to tell the people who can affect how we live on a daily basis that they wrong and they not doing nothing for us? So if you want to go in there and vote for them, then go vote for them. The definition of insanity, he just told you, is expecting a different result, but continuously doing the same damn thing. So it is what it is, man. So I'm going to tell you like this here, homie. When it's all said and done, you get what you pay for. You get what you pay for. So another spirited discussion with the 2 intellectual Black folk and the wild Black Republic. You pushed me over there, and now I'm gonna make you feel it on election day in Harris County. Say tomorrow night, Colleen Vera, remember the name. We gonna expose all this early balloting fraud. Oh, we ain't gonna talk about it. We gonna show you better than we can tell you. And then you go home and ask yourself about your Black Democrats. Until then, my co-host Donovan Sadiq, on behalf of my other co-host Demetra K, I am the 5-star general, and I'll holler at you tomorrow.